Let's get into it. Welcome, episode 6. We're here, baby. Super Bowl's coming up.
I just want to say how important this podcast is to me because I'm currently missing Bill Walton and Dave Pasch late night. It's not even late. That's the beauty of it. College basketball, Pac-12. I wish I could say like after dark, late night, but it's not. So I'm giving up time. 8 p.m. Eastern time. Bill Walton, Dave Pasch are on. Like that's a treat. At 8 p.m. this time, not even tired. Like that's a treat, and I'm missing it. So
it is a treat, and on the flip side of that, at least I don't have to listen to Stephen Bardo call Big Ten games. So,
that's true.
So it's a good trade-off right now. But yeah, Super Bowl coming up Sunday. What do we think?
The bowl.
Joe Burrow. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's the same thing. Like statistics, bro, on paper and everything. Like Rams are supposed to win. The Chiefs were supposed to win. The Rams were supposed to beat the Niners. They did. The Chiefs were supposed to beat the Bengals. They didn't. Rams are supposed to win. I think it's like another thing because of stats, this and that. I think the Rams are going to win. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be cheering my ass off for the Bengals. Who day?
I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I think the O-line will give up like 4 or 5 sacks easy. The Bengals O-line. I think they'll probably give up roughly that amount because they're awful. Like they might as well not even be there. But yeah, I think it'll be a closer game than maybe some people might think. Just while looking at like the Rams' weapons they have on offense, and they got amazing D-line. I don't know. What do you guys think about Ramsey, though? I feel like this has been like he's had a good year, but like compared to the rest of them, I feel like this has not been. He's been burnt.
He's had a good year. I don't have anything bad to say about him other than he's just lippy.
Yeah.
He's
always been lippy. But I mean, like, yeah, I don't know.
He's one of the best in the game, though, at his position.
You see Tom Brady's last touchdown pass was on Ramsey.
Yeah, but
that's awesome.
There's not much you can do about that.
Yeah, no, there isn't.
He just got burnt on a streak. I mean, it happens to the best of them.
Yeah.
But talk about how we got here, though. I know you could say a little bit about the 49ers and the Rams game. I feel like 49ers held it close, but at the end of the day, the Rams D showed who they were. But the Chiefs up 21-0. Patrick Mahomes, well-oiled machine. Talk about QBR. First half 98. Second 1.4.
1.4. I mean,
and I feel like a lot of that has to do with play calling. I think they just showed everything the first half, and then the second half they just came out blank. They didn't have half the stuff. Formation wise, a lot of the plays they were calling was just first day stuff. I feel like the Bengals they made adjustments, but they didn't look to have that same flashy guys in motion, just spark to them that you normally see from the Chiefs defense or offense. Excuse me.
I mean, speaking of the offense, like Tyreek Hill and what was his name, Hardman, they're going at him the sideline. You could tell they were like super frustrated because they know they can do it. They can blow them out of the water, and they just weren't able to do that. But so props to Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals made adjustments, and they don't. We don't talk about the Bengals defense like they're one of the best in the league. We haven't all year. I mean, but they're a solid defense. They're well coached. They made adjustments, and it's not easy to shut down Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce still had a great game. We all watched it. It's almost impossible to stop that guy, but he can't do it all himself. So I'm excited to see it. I think Burrow versus Stafford's a fun quarterback matchup. It really is. And we'll throw them up on the screen when you edit, but there's 2 pictures I'll show you guys. It's both Joe Burrow and Matt Stafford when they were in college. They're just normal ass guys. They're just normal dudes.
I feel like most quarterbacks are just like normal guys and like not like they're just normal guys in college, other than like the Baker and Johnny Manziel. And like you got flashy guys like Lamar, but imagine Tom Brady and like Peyton when they were in college. Like, yes, like they were both big names, but they were just normal dudes just hanging. What's up? I'm trying to think of like the best quarterback example to think of just a random guy. Other like Tom Brady, I feel like was just a random guy. Obviously, everyone knew who he was, but just just slinging it on the field and just very
You're talking
casual.
about trying to find guys who weren't normal, like just normal dudes on college campuses? Because Tim Tebow absolutely was not a normal dude on a college campus.
That's what I'm saying. No, personality-wise, though, I feel like he was, but he couldn't be normal because of all the media and everything. You know what I mean? Like, Tim Tebow just seems like a normal dude that's, very faith-oriented, and that's him.
What about Bennett from Georgia? That's like the most.
That's in Bennett.
That's
like,
yes.
if you're thinking like a laid back, chilled college dude, like a frat guy, like that's him.
Also, I feel like you kind of got to go into the category for that. Like, no one knows what you look like because half the time you have a helmet on, but even when you have a helmet, like your helmet's off, you just look like a normal guy that fits into society, especially being like,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe like a Alabama offensive lineman, probably not looking like a normal average Joe. I don't know.
No, but at the same time, like they see them and like even big names, you see him. And we had Emil on earlier. He's like, yeah, people know I play football, but it's like
they don't know who he is because
that's
the whole time.
Guys, especially in the NFL. In the NFL, those are like, I'm trying like a great, huge guy, Andrew Whitworth. You mean to tell me you see him out in public, you're gonna be like, wait, you're Andrew Whitworth? No, you're just a huge human being that's out in public.
He's a huge old human being too.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be down here.
Yeah, he is. Is he older than Sean McVay at this point?
He might be.
They might be the same age, but he looks older.
He's already graying. I mean, that goes to say with a lot of these offensive linemen, you could pick any of them. They're just normal guys. But at the end of the day, back to the Super Bowl though. I don't know who I was
gonna say it's like that tweet that you see all the time. It's quarterbacks tweet stuff about leadership, wide receivers tweet stuff like the enemy speaks kindly and holds a knife, and tight end tweets are derp. You have those three categories, and that's what they all fit in.
I'd agree.
Wide receivers try to be very, very cryptic on Twitter, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Have you guys seen those memes of the Rams just having like better at everything pretty much, and then what do the Bengals have? And they just show like Joe Shiesty with like
Shiesty.
Yeah, with like the glasses that he just thought were cool and like the fur jacket or whatever.
My favorite quote of his like dimes. He's like, "You really think these are fake? I make too much money to not have diamonds."
That was the cockiest statement he's ever made. Probably he's like, it probably sounded like one of my comments that I've made on here before, like where he thought it sounded more funny than it actually is in his head, and then he said it out loud. And it just came off just like
okay, but like we all know it's true. I mean, like
it's very much true. Very much.
Just like everyone was just like, makes sense.
I mean, that's just hey, them's the facts, man.
Them's the facts. Who dat?
But last week when like the Chiefs played the Bengals, did it make you? Because I thought the Chiefs would win. I think a lot of people did and probably projected them to win, but at heart they wanted the Bengals to win. Did it make you mad seeing guys like I don't know? It makes me mad knowing the Chiefs every year they'll bring back guys on defense or offense, like guys that are kind of at the end of their career, just been bounced around. It made me mad. Like I'm glad for this guy's success, but when Jerick McKinnon, when he went off, I was just like, how did they get this guy? Of all the teams in the league that needed a running back, could have utilized him. Chiefs just pick up another piece, just hey, we'll throw you in there, get in there, just go make a play. It's like, where is this? Where you could go be the running back. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, you mean to tell me there's other teams
that can't?
You wanted to win now.
NFL teams sounded like he's the main guy. Well, maybe not 25. On half the league, he's the main running back.
You mean to tell me the Texans and like the Jets, they couldn't have used him this year? He would have been the offense. Like what?
I'm sure he had other offers.
I'm sure, and plus, I'm sure.
But I think he wanted to win now.
Super Bowl. A lot of these guys
running backs get hit more so than a lot of other positions. I feel like. I mean, besides like O-line, D-line, linebackers.
Yeah. I mean, running backs are shorter on average. We all know that. But
the 49ers, Deebo Samuel was like their primary running back, pretty much. You mean to tell me he couldn't? And he was on the 49ers. That's the best part.
Yeah.
He was.
Why not get him back? But nope. But anyways, that's
projection. Honestly, I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna go. Last time I said it, no one believed it. I went with Bengals last time against Chiefs. Everyone's like, "Come on, Finn. What are you doing?" I'm like,
you were right.
Believing.
You were right.
I'm believing. Believe in Burrow. Come on now.
I'm with you there on believing in Burrow. And I think
Here comes the but.
But I think they're a great ball club. They're here. They're in the Super Bowl. But I think Los Angeles' front seven is going to be a little too much for them to handle. Because, in the Chiefs, we say, oh, that was probably their biggest test, getting through them. They got through the Chiefs. Now they're going to win it all. Chiefs defense isn't what the Rams defense is, And I think the front seven is just going to be a little too much for them. But at the same time, Joe Burrow somehow makes plays with the terrible offensive line. He did it all year. He just run around the pocket and gets the ball out. Somehow it ends up in Jamar Chase's hands. And
Andrew Luck walked so Joe Burrow could run. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Wait, say it again.
Andrew Luck walked so Joe Burrow could run. A guy with just an awful offensive line that gets the job done. Now, Andrew Luck never made it to this far. However, same scenario.
Close. He was AFC Championship.
He beat the Chiefs. Comeback win.
Yeah.
They did. What if? I'm in the same boat as Freddie, though. Front seven, Rams dominate. I want the Bengals to win at heart. I just don't think they have what it takes at the end of the day. But if you're a betting man, 55% of bets are on Cincinnati right now. And right now it's looking like the under 51%, probably because of the Rams defense.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the under hit. Also, I think this is kind of one where, it's kind of like the Chiefs getting there. Granted, the Chiefs won their first appearance, but it's kind of like, and I wouldn't call it a changing of guard because the Chiefs are obviously a still very young team. Patrick Mahomes is going to be around for a while. Kelsey's probably going to be around for a while. Hill's going to be around, going to be very effective for a few more years. But, the Bengals are already here and they're very young. They're going to be around for a while. And I think that's kind of the cool part about it is, the Bengals, they don't have to win this one because they're going to be around for 5 more years to be taking shots at the Super Bowl. So that's cool.
And that'll be interesting because them and the Chiefs are going to be going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
In the AFC, it seems like. But
and the Colts.
And don't even get me started on the Colts. Anyways,
sticking
with the NFL before we move on to college basketball, Brian Flores, thoughts? I think he deserves a head coaching job, and I thought he should have been the guy. You got the guy last name Gabagool. They got the Gabagool in New York, but why?
Bill Belichick kind of messed that up big time.
Yeah, but it's a good thing he texted him because otherwise there wouldn't have been a suit. And
for those before you say anything else, for those that not be watching and are a little confused what we're talking about, Bill Belichick sent these text messages to Brian Flores when he meant to send it to the other Brian. What was his last name?
Brian Daboll.
Daboll, yeah. And made Brian Flores think he was going to be the next head coach. I think with the Giants, the Bills.
Giants.
When he was never really in contention. He was going for an interview just to say they had another interview with another coach.
Yeah.
Which he found out later.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Because literally, and I saw it, the Vikings made a graphic and tweeted out that they had a second interview with Brian Flores, and they had no intentions of hiring him. They actually had another candidate locked up already. And it was just kind of like a token. All right, we interviewed him, got that off our back. Let's hire someone else. And it's not without merit, his case that he's making. So I hope I hope this kind of, and obviously we've been trying to go at it for a long time. The NFL has a history of not hiring black head coaches. I can think of in my lifetime off the top of my head, count them on one hand. Lovie Smith, who else? David Coley was just the coach of the Texans. He got fired.
Jim Caldwell.
Herm Edwards, Jim Caldwell. Mike Tomlin's basically the only one I see that they have given a consistent shot.
Yeah.
Allowed him to come back, build a team. The other head coach
might give Jim Caldwell a shot again too.
But like those are the head coaches where I see they have what it takes. They get such a short leash on it though. 1 to 2 years, you can't do it. What are you doing? You're out. And you look at that and compared to some other head coaches around the league that have been there for a while, you're like, well, what are we doing? Like, why does this guy get more years? He's even worse, and he's in a better situation for the team he's on. Look at what Brian Flores did with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They're 1 or 2 games away from making the playoffs, and I thought they were a very good team, and I honestly think they could have contended in the playoffs. I think they could have been an upset game.
Yeah.
And now we're here, and
you guys do it for sure.
And rightfully so.
He's
watching ESPN, and Robert Griffin III was listed. He's like, I could count it on both hands. Coaches where this has happened to haven't been given a second chance, and were outed wrongfully with teams where they could have done more with, just weren't given the time.
But yeah, bottom line, Brian, he deserves a shot at a head coaching spot. He's a great coach.
Oh yeah, sure. He's the best candidate that's out there right now for a vacancy.
Yeah,
and he should get it. And there's also something to be said about owners being mostly white. It's just the way the NFL has always worked, unfortunately, and hopefully there's they give qualified people chances, because you look at it too. There's a lot of guys, retread hires, as we like to call them. I mean, granted, Andy Reid's doing well in Kansas City, but he's one of those guys. He got ran out of Philly, and then Kansas City hired him. And there's so many guys out there that have gotten fired from one job and just move on to the next one like it's nothing. And Brian Flores shouldn't have even gotten fired, and now he is not getting an NFL head coaching job. So
yeah. Well, good luck to him. I'm sure he'll find a spot. Hopefully soon. He deserves it 100%. It's clear as day. But now we'll move on to college basketball.
College basketball, baby.
Big 12. Let me get after this.
Hold on. Get out of here.
Hey,
we're going Notre Dame.
Big 12, absolutely.
We're going Notre Dame first. This is
Notre Dame first.
Okay. This guy's coming. Oh, by the way, we'll get a graphic in here showing IU and Purdue is kind of on the same level as Duke, Notre Dame, in the sense anyone could win, as Duke goes out and holds Notre Dame to like 18 or 13 points in the first half. Absolutely.
Duke only had 27 or 26
in the first half.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
That's awful, Finn. They did not.
Yeah. I'm not getting your point here. Like and I didn't even say they were the same level either.
Freddie knows exactly where I'm going with this.
No, I know we had the conversation last podcast, but it's not. That's a little bit out of context. I didn't say they're on the same level.
Finn, Notre Dame had 14 points in the first half. 14 points. 27 to 14 was the halftime score.
Yeah,
they scored 43 total points in the game, Finn.
Both teams shot terribly. Duke came out. They were obviously the better team.
And I said they would get steamrolled. I said, do I want Notre Dame to win? Of course, they're the underdog. I want them to make the tournament this year, too. I think Mike Bray's got something great going on.
I think they still will.
And they have a great shot right now. Right now, I think they're one of the first 4 out, right, as of today. And that's going to change, I believe, because they just won 2 days ago. But anyways, go ahead.
So I was going to say just real quickly, last podcast we said Notre Dame has to get at least 2 of the next 4, and they got 3 of the last 4 since we talked. They beat NC State pretty handily, beat Virginia, lost to Duke, whatever. Like we said, if the one they lose is to Duke, that's the best case scenario, and then they beat Miami.
If they win their next 2, they're in. They have North Carolina State at North Carolina State, who's a pretty good ball club, especially at home, and then they have Louisville at home.
Yeah. And I think they could definitely win those games. But I think one guy that's like stood out for them big time, and I think he showed spurts of it against the Duke game, and especially in the Miami game, was Atkinson. He's like, I forget how big he is, but he's not like
6'8" or 6'9".
He's their big, but like not like the big forward. Like a big per se, like said, like stereotypical big man that you'd see in the NBA or college like Duke, Kentucky teams. You know,
he's like a stretch four, honestly.
Yeah,
not so much of a stretch. He's just a four that kind of tries to bang in the paint. This is what we talked about.
He can bang in the paint. He had I think he had 6-7 dunks tonight Miami game, and he had a double. He had like 25 points.
That's against Miami. Though. Miami doesn't have a known big man. You go against Duke, you see what happens. Williams in the paint. This is what's going to happen to them. They're going to run into a team, and obviously they beat North Carolina at home. They beat Kentucky. Kentucky's big men weren't fully healthy. Oscar Tshiebwe was not what he is compared to now earlier in the year. They're going to run into a team again where they have a solidified big man who can bang in the paint, and they're not going to be able to handle him.
Literally any Big Ten team.
Yes, any Big Ten team.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
Who's the one guy for Penn State? Farah, is that his name?
Hara.
Like even him. Like, come on.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, even in that Duke game, Atkinson still had put up I think it was 14, 50 points, 9 rebounds. He's still banging it. I mean, obviously Duke. I mean, their bigs were loads better than any type of big that Notre Dame had, which is not many or any at all.
Well, it also helps that their big could also be compared as, Paolo Banchero. And Paul Atkinson is their big. Well, you have Paolo, who is also a 3. He can run the point. He can do it all, and he's 6'8", 6'9", the same height. So it's not fair.
Yeah, and you got Wesley too, but. Not as a big, but just as a good tool weapon.
He can do it all, but play the 5. I like him. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
Anyways, move on to what I was going to say. The Big 12, Freddie, and you be honest. They didn't live up to what you wanted them to do, because I don't know if you were watching the radar that week, Big 10 versus the SEC or Big 12 SEC Challenge. I know there were a couple games, definitely 2 out there where you were like, come on, let's do it, because let's be real. 6 out of the 4 went to the SEC. And if you look at it, man, I mean, when you have Texas Tech facing off against, who was it? Mississippi State as one of your big wins. It's not a big win. Come on.
No, it's not. Mississippi State's not good. But, the challenge ended at 6-4. You started talking to us when SEC was winning games. And then it continued and finished later that night, and it was a 6-4 total record. It's not like the SEC wiped the floor with the Big 12.
You had Texas at home with a 1-point win against a okay Tennessee team, who honestly is overranked at 18th.
So is Texas. So they're on the same level.
What'd you say?
Said so is Texas. So they're on the same level. Texas.
No, but I'm saying both teams are evenly matched there. So yeah, good for Texas. There's a good win for them. Kentucky versus Kansas at Rupp. Or at Fog Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
Kansas got smoked.
Yes, I'm aware.
Texas Tech, Alabama beating Baylor. I mean, that's big. Ole Miss, Kansas State. I mean, no one cares. Throw that game out. Arkansas, West Virginia. And you've said Arkansas is not as good as we thought this year. Arkansas also beat Georgia last night on the road by 20-some.
Georgia's not good either as West Virginia.
It's a road win in the SEC. Any conference, a road win in a bit Power 5 like that, and you absolutely steamroll a team by 20, 30. It's a good morale boost. But West Virginia is a good team for Arkansas, a good matchup. Auburn, Oklahoma. Auburn blew them out. And then I will give the Big 12 one good win. A good one.
TCU over LSU.
Yes. TCU or LSU, excuse me, I said, was without their point guard for the whole game. Meaning he didn't play the whole game. He was on a minutes restriction, and their best player, Darius Days, just came back from a sprained ankle, and I doubt he was 100% healthy. With that being said, TCU played amazing
about that, but when you're looking at tournament resumes, I don't know how deep you look into who was hurt and who wasn't playing. A win's a win and a loss is a loss at the end of the day. And I think the most impressive one, obviously, was Kentucky over Kansas. Because I personally, and you mentioned it, after the beginning of the season, really before it turned New Year, I didn't think Kentucky was that good of a basketball team.
They're a top 5 team.
They are a top 5 team. Kentucky and Purdue are top 5 teams. I'm having fun.
Very good. But Kentucky also has they've been injury prone all year. They've been missing players here and there. Shouldn't make too much of a difference, but I mean, it really does. And when you put it all together, 80-62, at Kansas is a result you see. Also, a guy that popped off for 27 points, Keon Brooks, 9 for 16. At one point, I want to say he was like 8 for 8. He had like 12 straight points for them in the second half. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but for him to go on a run like that and to have a show out game like that proves exactly what he can do. And then Sheboy, just another double. He's the best big in the country right now, I think. I know Kofi's up there productivity wise, but I think he's the best big in the country.
I think everyone's got a different game in terms of big men in the country.
And you like Trace, I know it.
Obviously, I'm going to be a little biased towards Trace, but we saw in the Purdue game and even the Michigan game, he can be a little inconsistent. If he's on, he is absolutely on, and he was in the. We just beat the ever living crap out of Penn State and Maryland, and he was good in both of those games.
Oh, he had some monster dunks in that game against Maryland. He had
those are both big wins. The last week for Indiana basketball, I was very, very thrilled with. Penn State and Maryland both aren't great teams, but he took care of business, got 2 wins on the week. Might as well take that. But yeah, back to what we were saying was every big man's got a different game. Kofi can't play defense. He can't play defense. But he can absolutely, if he can if he's matched up against a guy that's smaller than him, he's going to be fine. But if he goes up against someone that's just as big as him, especially in terms of strength, he's going to struggle. You saw it against, look at, Cameron Krutwig gave him the work in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
And if he goes up against, I'm excited to see, we play him Saturday. We play him Saturday. I'm excited to see what Trace can do against him. But yeah, Kofi can't play defense. Sheboy's more of a defense and rebound guy, but he's been scoring recently. Timmy's a guy that can spread the floor with it. So there's all sorts of different games out there, but I do think you can definitely put now Sheboy in the Player of the Year conversation. He wasn't in there before, but now he is. So we'll just see how he finishes out the year.
Also, how about right when you think Laval Jordan's out, goes to home versus Creighton, 72-55. Then again at home, beats Georgetown. Still, it's not a big win, but hey, back-to-back wins. And then they go and they put up a decent fight last night against Xavier. It wasn't a great game by any means, but it was a 2-point victory for Xavier. Granted, there was a 3-point buzzer at the end, which I'm sure someone was just crushed by the spread on that.
Yeah.
But still, you take those 3 games and, you put everything together with what they've had and how they played. It was an all-together team effort. It wasn't bad. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed with Bo Hodges. I thought coming from Eastern Tennessee State, he was going to then be the guy. And I've said it over and over. It doesn't help that Aaron Thompson literally cannot shoot a basketball. He can only lay up if he can drive. And if not, it's not there. Like, he can't do anything. But other than that, I think it's all coming together for him now. They're going to be a good team in the future, but still not a tournament team, obviously. So we'll see where they move from there. But
like back to, if you want to talk about more about IU, Freddie, I know we kind of already talked about Penn State, Maryland, but like, I don't know. Do you think, as of right after watching these past couple games recently, how far do you think IU's going in the tournament this year? I know you made your prediction last time, but like, has it changed?
Yeah, I think barring a major collapse, they're in the tournament. I'm going to knock on wood here. But barring a major collapse, they're in. I'm thinking like 6 to 8 seed, more than likely.
Very generous with the 6 there.
Okay, who knows right now? Because and that's something I was going to mention was, they took care of business against Penn State and Maryland last week. Those are both quad 2 wins. But 4 of the next 5 are teams ranked within the top 20. They got Illinois Saturday, at Northwestern, whatever. But then it's at Michigan State, Wisconsin at home, at Ohio State. They have an absolute gauntlet coming up.
Gauntlet. Oh.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough couple weeks. And I think if you can get 3 wins out of that, you're golden to be a 6 to 8 seed. I mean, those are going to be some big wins. I could even see them jumping into the top 25 if they get 3 out of those 5. Because you beat any one of those, it's 2 ranked wins. I'm including Northwestern as one of the W's. So
there you go.
But I could see them jumping in the top 25, picking up some big wins. I was concerned after that Michigan game that the wheels might fall off, but it was the complete opposite. I mean, they
back on track.
They absolutely ran Penn State out of Bloomington.
It's Penn State though. Come on, like great win.
Penn State beat IU once already. They've played Purdue well. Penn State's not a terrible team. They have some guys that can score. And we mentioned Hara before. He plays hard down the paint. He's a little undersized.
Seth Lundy's good.
Seth Lundy's a scorer. Seth Lundy's an absolute scorer. But ran Penn State out of the gym. You go to Maryland, in which, fun fact, somehow Indiana had, since Maryland had joined the Big Ten, had never won at Maryland. Never won at Maryland until this year. Tom Crean couldn't do it. Archie Miller couldn't do it. Mike Woodson did it his first try.
Morale at an all-time high. I think what also contributes to that, side note, have you guys seen those Trace Jackson and Cop TikTok videos?
Liver King?
Yes, yeah. I tweet them every time I see them. Get back.
Those are awesome.
Hunt.
I love those.
Miller
Trace does not want to be in them at all. Like he comes in, he's like, "Yeah, we got this food. I'm gonna eat it. Bye."
The pizza one, he's like, or on the bus, like, got this sandwich.
What these green beans in here? What's that about?
Get rid of the vegetables.
No, but I think I held up this earlier. I think the round of 32. I think, and honestly, it's in IU. They're so streaky about it this year. They've done a lot better recently, obviously after the loss to Michigan. But 2 games there, cool. Who knows when it'll end? Shooting. You have one off night. You only get 1 shot in the NCAA tournament, round of 64. Like you said, if you're a 6 to 9 seed, you're going to be playing a very equal opponent who might not have played as well during the regular season, but boy, are they going to come hungry come time for the tournament. And who knows? Who knows who you're going to face? You could face a great team, great defense, or just a team that just straight up shoots light out of the ball and you can't hit the side of a barn door.
Truth is, Spurgeon, tournament time, no one knows what the heck's going to happen. Like, no one knows.
No, I
can't predict it.
But these are predictions, Finn. Like, you asked, and I'm giving you predictions.
You can try, but you can't.
I definitely think I use Ben shooting the ball better. They've been creating better shots outside, which I definitely like. I was saying, Parker Stewart has been getting more shots. Miller Kopp, his shots are starting to fall from beyond 3-point line.
Liver King.
Liver King, baby. Stay primal.
Stay primal.
But, yeah, those two, you got to love it when they can hit shots because really that's what you brought both of them in to do. Because there's other guys who are defensive specialists. There's other guys who are going to get your rebounds. There's other guys who are going to be interior defenders. So you brought those guys in to hit threes, and they're starting to do it. So you like to see that. Tamar Bates, he's putting up shots more. They didn't really fall against Maryland. He got great looks, and that's really all you can ask for because great looks eventually going to fall down. Jordan Geronimo's starting to look really good out there. I love that guy. But yeah, I think, and I've been saying it all year. I said it our very first podcast. We talked about it, and I said it again. It's a process. And I said as the Big Ten season goes on, they're going to get better. They're going to figure it out because there are so many new pieces, and it looks like it's starting to get figured out.
Got to trust it.
You got to trust it. You got to trust Mike Woodson, who
Griffin's not in the league right now.
For the first time in 9 games and was the first Indiana coach to win at Maryland since they've been in the Big Ten. Got to trust Woody.
Got to keep pressing that suit, man.
Yeah, he wore a turtleneck against Maryland, and it was the coolest thing ever. He wore a suit coat and a turtleneck. He is a badass.
Good for IU, Freddie. I'm glad that IU is bringing you a lot of joy.
You deserve it.
Dude, I'll tell you what, because for the longest time,
you deserve to go to the tournament with having some hope, like you did with the Oladipo Zeller team, and then you just happened to face Syracuse. But you deserve that hope in your life, and joy.
I appreciate it. It's not. I will tell you, it's not the same enthusiasm. Well, it is the same enthusiasm. It's not the same hope, same level of hope that I had with those teams, because they won the Big Ten. They were ranked within the top 5 all year. It's not the same, but I'm very excited about it. I had to turn to football for a couple of years.
But now you're back. They just dragged you back in.
Baby, he's
back.
They just
dragged me back in. Archie Miller killed it, and Mike Woodson brought me back in. And granted, don't get me wrong, I still watched every IU basketball game when Archie was coach. I still yelled at the TV. I just hated it. I hated every second of it.
I'll put a video of you doing that right here.
Your Archie years were so short-lived, though, because you had like Kelvin Sampson, Tom Crean, and then you had Archie. Me being a Florida fan, all I had was Billy Donovan, and now we're with some guy named Mike White. And like Archie's stint was like it felt so short. And
he was
Mike
there
White,
the entire time we were in college. Archie Miller was the head coach of Indiana basketball.
Yeah. Mike White
Which
was
sucks because I want.
before.
You know how fun it would be if IU was good while we were in college? Yeah, that would have been sick.
We would have made multiple trips down to Bloomington and had a blast. But like I was saying, though, Mike White at Florida is like Archie Miller was at IU, except the process and everything just feels like it's so much longer, and you don't have half the success. He has one Elite Eight run with the team that Billy Donovan had. He inherited it.
Yeah,
and it was the year that Chris Chiozza hit the buzzer beater, like run up 3 against Wisconsin.
It's Kevin Ollie, but the great value version of it, because that's what Kevin Ollie did at UConn, except he won a title.
But he won a title,
guys. Yeah,
still had to do something, but at least he won a title, But anyways, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I want to say Florida's won 2 straight games without a single big man on the court, 6'9" and under, and the dude's a stretch forward who weighs about 175. Also, Florida women's team just upset number 5 Tennessee. We're going to the Final Four, baby. Lady
IU women's in the top 10, baby. Granted, they just lost to Michigan. They got their butts kicked by Michigan. But
seems to be a recurring thing.
They were coming off a COVID pause. Mackenzie Holmes, who is a Player of the Year candidate, got hurt. She's still out. She might not play the rest of the year. So it was going to be a struggle. I think it'll be fine. They went to the Elite Eight last year. I could see them doing it again. Go Hoosier women's, baby.
Good luck to them. Anyways, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. We
forgot to mention Purdue's good at basketball.
Cool beans.
Yep, they're good. That's all we got to say about that. Hey, catch
Purdue's
you next time.
A very good team.
Like, subscribe. You know how to do it.
Click this link.
Back to Locker Talk.